Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Breakdown. We are only 24 hours after, not even actually 24 hours after, the second return match of John Brzenk to the world of arm wrestling. He has, of course, just faced Dmitry Kachan and achieved a very significant victory. If you haven't seen the footage yet, we will get to it shortly, but this match for John Brzenk was a very important match in his return to professional arm wrestling at the highest level. Dmitry Kachan, of course, a Russian podium placer at his nationals. He's been in the 100 kilo class. He's been on the podium at Worlds and at Europeans. He's genuinely an elite arm wrestler, and he came into this match in great form. So, having beaten Robbie Burnett in a super match as his most recent outing. But John Brzenk, coming off the back of his win against Chance Shaw, this was another step up in the direction of returning to potentially being the world's best arm wrestler at his body weight. John Brzenk made a statement up against Dmitry Kachan. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look at the footage. If you've missed it, here it is. Alright, you can see Dmitry Kachan on the left of screen, John Brzenk on the right. Outside of straps, at this point in time, John Brzenk was intending to force the hook. I'd spoken to John prior to the match, and he'd said he was going to look to win this match outside of the straps if possible. But Dmitry Kachan setting with a low hand top roll, sort of slip happening there. As you can see, John Brzenk straight away impressed with the hand. An elbow fell from John during that slip, so the restart happens outside of straps again. John holds on for a moment, but then recognizes that the hand and back pressure pronation from Dmitry is too much to simply hang around there, and off to the straps he goes. Now, in the straps, you can see John now with that high knuckles position. Dmitry with the lower fingers. He's looking to really focus on the hand control. Dmitry confident in his pronation and dragging ability. John squeezing down hard with the fingers and posting with pronation. Right now, the shoulder commitment of Dmitry Kachan starts to chip through, and you can see the wrist flexion of John Brzenk is in trouble. As the wrist flexion of John Brzenk starts to fatigue, John starts to focus now. You watch him transition. He will transition to a posting and pronating side pressure defense. Dmitry Kachan, very patient at the moment. He's in a good position, chipping away with the shoulder. Both fundamental arm wrestlers here, very, very protective of their position. No one giving away anything. John Brzenk now taking a backward step, retreating a little. Dmitry Kachan testing for pins, but still can't get through the hand. John's wrist flexion is in trouble. It's gone, and you can see him now resting purely on that threat of pronation, but the surprise flop press. Dmitry Kachan did not see it coming, and there is John Brzenk taking round one in very impressive style. Round two, here we go. Outside of straps, Dmitry Kachan with good initiation from center, looking like he had the center control in the straps now. John Brzenk, similar tactic, the high knuckles position. Dmitry Kachan looking to pronate and back pressure. There's that pronation back pressure. Very close to pins, within a centimeter of a pin there. John Brzenk's barely surviving. Once again, John Brzenk's wrist flexion is in trouble here, but John Brzenk's pronation and back pressure is what's keeping him alive as Dmitry Kachan lifts his elbow, recognizing that John was getting into a similar position as round one. Here we go, the restart now with Dmitry Kachan on the foul. Once again, the center is taken from Dmitry Kachan. He is right there, but looking for a squeeze rather than surge. John Brzenk now, his wrist has gone back, but his pronation is still set. His back pressure is still accessible. He lets go of the wrist and drives with the flop hook, and the transition to the flop press is coming up. Here it is, there it is, comes forward Dmitry Kachan. Defensive top roll, unable to withstand the offense from John, with taking the 2-0 lead there with a flop hook transition to a flop press. Incredible stuff from John. Round three, here we go. Dmitry Kachan now on your left, outside of straps. Once again, looking good in hand control. Dmitry Kachan's hand is genuinely elite. In the straps now. Round three, once again, center taken from Dmitry Kachan. The pronation back pressure of Dmitry, sufficient to flatten the wrist of John Brzenk. John Brzenk now tucking his elbow underneath, looking to get onto the bicep of Dmitry Kachan. Dmitry Kachan knows his arm is in trouble. Dmitry's winning the hand, but John is winning the arm. John waiting for the moment to strike. Dmitry Kachan starting to talk to John, starting to both of them realizing that they can't pin each other yet. Both waiting for the opportunity. John Brzenk looking, waiting for the time to strike. Dmitry Kachan talking to him. Here comes the strike. The side pressure, the flop hook to flop press transition once again takes the win. John Brzenk 3-0 over Dmitry Kachan. Really significant effort from both there. As you can see, the sweat and the the deep breathing going on. John Brzenk laughing that one off as Dmitry Kachan puts in what was an absolutely outstanding effort, just quietly. Alright, ladies and gents, well, there you have it. That was the super match. John Brzenk winning at 3-0. Although the scoreline says it was dominant, by no means was it one-sided. Dmitry Kachan had a fantastic hand. His back pressure and pronation was sufficient to keep the hand and wrist of John flat and actually fatigued the hand and wrist of John to the point where he could no longer get his wrist flexion secured. John Brzenk had to resort to a posting pronation defense with his wrist going back. He kept his thumb pronation very well protected, and it was that thumb pronation through his post that allowed him to transition to the flop press and the flop hook in the later rounds as well. It's what I love most about arm wrestling is that there's so many different ways to win, and John Brzenk, I think, is the best example there is of weaponry across the full spectrum of options that exist within the sport of arm wrestling. John Brzenk felt the gaps of where he needed to go, and when the time was there, he pulled the trigger without any hesitation to get a decisive victory. 3-0. From here, John Brzenk moves on to Paul Lynn, which is October 23rd, only a couple of weeks away, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks away, to continue his return. And then, of course, if he gets through Paul Lynn, he has a match booked with Hadzimur Zaloyev in January in Turkey next year. Big things ahead for the GOAT, John Brzenk. Congratulations, and also congratulations to Dmitry Kachan for putting up an absolutely spectacular war with John. Alright guys, take care, let me know what you thought about the match, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, that's amazing!